So music news that I would never have had on my bucket list in 2024. The headline that I saw earlier today said that Alien Ant Farm you've been struck by a smooth criminal has kicked CKY off of their tour because the singer for CKY punched the singer for Alien Ant Farm in the face. In the face! And my first thought, I'm not kidding you, when I saw this was this supposed to say 2004 and not 2024? Because really, when's the last time those two bands were like touring full force, let alone with each other? To everybody that's live on Twitch right now, welcome. To everybody that's watching on YouTube later, if you want to join us when we record music news and reactions and stuff live on Twitch, you can go to twitch.tv/TankTheTech. But in this video, I want to dive into like all of this drama going on because this whole story to me is wild, and there was an unexpected turn with it that I was not expecting at all, which would imply that it was unexpected. And real quick before we go further, today's video is sponsored by our good friends over at NordVPN. In today's technological age, if you're spending any amount of time online, especially if you're traveling all over the place like I do on tour, a VPN, or a virtual private network, is an absolute must, and NordVPN is the fastest VPN on the planet. At the click of a button, you can become safer online because NordVPN masks your IP address and location and encrypts your internet connection. And if you're taking advantage of a plan that has Threat Protection Pro, which is my personal favorite feature, you're going to get even more protected from things like malware, ransomware, phishing, and a bunch of other online threats. On top of security, NordVPN also allows you to stay closer to home while traveling, or virtually travel to another country. You can select a private server in another country. You can keep up with your favorite shows and even game on different servers. I've trusted NordVPN daily for years now, whether I'm at home or traveling on tour. So if you'd like to become better protected online, head over to nordvpn.com/tankthetech, or just click the link in the description of the video or the pinned comment, where you can protect up to 10 of your devices with just one account. And if you take advantage of one of their 2-year plans, they'll throw in 4 months for free, and it's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. So thank you to NordVPN for once again sponsoring one of my videos. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, and now let's jump back in. Right now, as you can see on screen, Alien Ant Farm. Yes, the band most known and sometimes only known for that one cover of Michael Jackson they did. I will say, to be fair though, the band is really good. I actually loved their first couple albums, and the guys in the band are really talented, so it is kind of unfortunate that their one big thing is Smooth Criminal, even though they have some great songs. And we've got CKY exploded onto the scene with their music featured in Jackass and the old CKY videos, and Bam Margera's brother is in the band. And again, like surprising because these bands were very big in the early 2000s. I actually loved some of the CKY albums back then too, and even some of their newer albums too, but haven't really kept up with either band, so I was surprised to see this. But as you can see, they have a full tour in Europe going on, and it's still going on. Today they're in England, but unfortunately CKY is no longer on those shows because, as we said in the intro, something happened. CKY's singer punched Alien Ant Farm singer in the face and they got booted from a tour. And I'm actually a little surprised, like this news made it to like Billboard and stuff. This wasn't just some like Metal Sucks article or anything. Billboard posted about this, and they claimed that the world of alternative metal has been watching drama unfold. I don't know if I would say the world of alternative metal, but some people that are interested in this. But here we are talking about it. So Pennsylvania outfit CKY being kicked off a tour from Alien Ant Farm's current tour, even though that billing to me looked very co-headlining-ish because they have equal value. When I say equal value, I mean equal billing, like their name is the same size on there. When you hear the terms co-headlining and co-bill and stuff, there can be different meanings in that. I would look at this and call this a co-bill because both bands are highlighted on the top in the same size. They have equal billing. That is a co-bill. You could also call that co-headlining, and usually on co-headlining tours, Sometimes, depending on what market they're in, the band that's headlining will swap back and forth every night. Like Alien Ant Farm will close one night, CKY will close the other night. But the way that was just worded is that this is a co-bill because Alien Ant Farm is headlining every single night. And to further extrapolate on the co-bill thing, that also usually means not only do they get equal billing on like marquees and on posters and stuff like that, but the production costs and the income are usually split 50-50. Now, there might be some different contractual things in there that say that one person takes more of the show cost than another person or something like that. But usually when it's a co-headlining tour, it literally is treated like two bands are the headlining band and all those costs are split evenly. So according to the vocalist for Alien Ant Farm, Dryden Mitchell, he went on social media on November 9th, which is 4 days before we're recording this, and wrote that Chad, the vocalist from CKY, hasn't figured out how to cohabitate with others after all these years. They will no longer be on the Alien Ant Farm tour through the rest of the UK shows after Chad punched me in the face earlier today. I've watched him treat multiple crew members and opening band members like trash through the Europe shows and cause general drama around our camp. Before the last Europe shows, I went to Chad and asked if he had any issues with anyone specifically and if he wanted to have a meeting with the whole crew and bands to discuss what's going on. He upended the table in the dressing room and threw his phone and then canceled their show. Today, we still had business things to square away, and I told his manager what a problem Chad was being, verbally, as well as fucking up the bus with all of his messes every day for other people to clean up. So that tells me that CKY and Alien Ant Farm were actually sharing a tour bus, because there's no way that Dryden would be commenting on how Chad was acting on a CKY tour bus. So he continues by saying, well, he punched me in the face and pretty much ran away like I imagine he'll do for all of his future problems. I'm grateful for my sobriety and grateful that I didn't retaliate physically in any way whatsoever. I would love these shows to continue and apologize to all the CKY fans for Chad's behavior. We have zero hard feelings for Jess and Elvis and CKY and are gutted to see them go, but I will never knowingly put myself in volatile situations, so this had to end. Dryden finished his post by saying that if Chad Ginsburg seeks therapy, maybe in 25 years we can shake hands. That honestly seems like some very childish stuff. Now, that is just one side of the story. That is Dryden Mitchell's side of the story, saying that just it seems like Chad had a temper and just treated people like shit and decided to punch him in the face when he got mad. You know, the only thing I don't like about that statement, for me personally, the sobriety part. And for those of you that watch my channel know me, I've been sober for years. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I am a sober person. I think that whole line in there about I'm grateful for my sobriety and glad that I didn't retaliate, blah, blah, blah. That's kind of almost a condescending line, in my opinion. Like, there's no reason you need to say that other than to pat yourself on the back for being sober, not doing anything, and making it sound like Chad is the worst person. Because I'll fully admit right here, dude, like, you know, when I first got sober and I went to recovery meetings and stuff like that, you know, there were a lot of people that I found out that were sober that I didn't know about. And I mentioned to somebody one day that it was like, oh, wow, I didn't know that... I think the way I worded it was like, oh, wow, I didn't know that they were sober and they were a good person. And this person was like, hold on there, Tanky. Just because somebody's sober doesn't mean they're a good person. They can be sober and they can still be an asshole. So I've always kept that in my head. And that's kind of, and we'll get into it, but Dryden Mitchell also has a past as well. So throwing that sobriety line in there to me makes it look like he's trying to make himself look like the better person, even though I feel like that was totally unnecessary to do and use your sobriety like that. But at the same time, good for him for being sober. Now, Chad Ginsburg from CKY has responded to all of this situation that has happened using the hashtags on social media like tour canceled, one-sided bullshit, two sides to every story, and if you only knew. He said that he had no choice and good reason for what happened. I will always defend myself. You know me much better than that. More info to come. Apologies to the fans. And as of now, that's really all I've seen. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, there is more. Since that article was posted, he has come back to social media and he's saying that this whole entire incident was self-defense. He said nothing wrong with defending yourself from a bad guy. If you are attacked or feel truly threatened, have no fear and stop the threat however you can. He said, I had to protect myself. It was a split-second reaction to a very angry guy muttering, then yelling shit at me from 10 feet away, charging at me into my personal space, coming at me. He was attacking me. I felt a physical threat, and had I not tried to avoid the attack, I would have been assaulted. For fuck's sake. I could say so much more, but situation sucks for all. I'd like to stop, rather not get all into it all. It's no one's biz. This is not news. As unfortunate as the situation is altogether. Dude fucking writes like a 13-year-old. What the fuck? Now here is where this entire situation gets even wilder to me, is that Alien Ant Farm has booted CKY from the rest of this tour, right? Like CKY has left, other bands have replaced them. These two are supposed to tour in Australia with each other in like 3 months. They're doing this same tour in Australia. They've got dates from Friday, February 7th through Wednesday, February 12th. They're doing Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth. That's the standard Australian tour because you can't really play anywhere else. The promoters in Australia have said, we are aware of the altercation between a member of Alien Ant Farm and a member of their support act, CKY. We have spoken at length with the representative of both artists this morning. Oh, interesting. The representative of both artists? I wonder if they have the same agent. They continued by saying, at this point, it's best to let tempers cool and believe a solution/compromise can be found in the next few days that enables the show, all of which are selling out rapidly, to proceed as planned. We are working with both bands to calm things down and keep the tour intact. In the words of The Offspring, we may have to keep them separated. And I actually think on an Australian tour, it might be easier to actually keep them separated than not. Because in Australia, there's not really a thing as bus touring. You're flying everywhere every day. You do a show, you go to the hotel for a couple hours and get a shower and a quick nap, and you go to the airport and you fly to the next show. That's pretty standard. So it is reasonable that they could probably do this tour and keep those two separated if they need to. Now, of course, they probably will run into each other because they're going to be at the same venues and the same backstage areas. But this whole situation just seems like really, even for me, for all the years I've been touring, this seems really childish and weird. Like, of course, I agree with what Chad said that there's two sides to every story. And I would actually say there's three sides to every story. There's one side, two sides, and then the truth. So we may not actually really know what happened. And of course, people's perception on events are going to be different and stuff like that. But I'm just trying to think, in all of the years I've toured, I haven't really seen many physical altercations on the road. Can't say I've ever seen two artists fight on the road that I can think of. I've seen crew people get in fist fights. Like, that's happened. Because, you know, the thing about touring is when you put so many different personalities and so many different people on a bus together, and then they have to live with each other and work with each other, sometimes tempers can get out of control. And I have been on tours where like me and other people have had to separate crew guys, like getting into fights. But usually on the road, that stuff gets squashed pretty quick without any additional drama or anything like that. Like, really, off the top of my head, there's only one tour ever that I think I've ever been a part of a camp where we've left a tour and like they didn't get kicked off the tour, they left the tour, but it wasn't because of any fights or physical issues. It was just the band I was working for was direct support, and the headlining band, they felt that the headlining band was treating them and their crew like absolute shit, and they decided to pull off the tour. But again, no physical confrontations, and that's one tour out of probably hundreds I've done that's happened. So like, it is actually kind of surprising to me to see a band kicked off a tour for something like this. So that tells me that this has to be a bigger issue than somebody just punching somebody in the face. Like, I kind of lean towards believing Dryden Mitchell's side of it, that he was treating opening bands and crew people horribly and stuff, because that's kind of what it would take to kick somebody off of a tour. Two people not liking each other and getting into an altercation isn't going to do that. It's going to be the whole tour feeling it. Now, in Chad's defense, and I don't know either of these people personally, so this is all just from what I've seen online and what I know. Dryden Mitchell doesn't really have the cleanest record either. There have been incidents where I remember years ago at a live show, he like grabbed a fan's hand in the front row while he was performing and made them like rub his junk. He's been online many times using the F word and the N word like fully typed out, like stuff like that. So like, regardless, you know, how you take those things, you know, I take him a certain way. So you can judge him based off of that, or judge his character based off that, is what I'm saying. So there literally might be a third side to this story that nobody's getting. Like, there might be more that went into this, but from what we just read, bro got punched in the face and they kicked the other dude's band off the tour, which is wild. I can't say I've ever really seen a lot of this happening. You know, usually when bands beef, they just talk shit to each other online and stuff like that. Like, that's some old school rock and roll shit, punching somebody in the face like that. But we'll just wrap it up there. So to everybody that was on Twitch live, thank you for being here. Again, if you're watching on YouTube and you'd like to join us on Twitch, you can go to twitch.tv/TankTheTech. I'm also on a ton of different social media. My handle on just about everything is @TankTheTech. But until next time, wherever you are in the world, be safe, be kind to each other. I love you all. Don't punch people in the face if you're on tour with them. And I will see you very soon.